Hello and welcome back to the channel. It's been a while since I've done some gaming content that isn't something to do with the 3DS. If you've been to this channel before, you might very well have sort of seen that there are multiple videos below this one, sort of going over sort of 5 3DS games that I've been picking up every now and again in the aim of trying to get a whole set. I've taken a bit of a back seat for that in a minute because one, I got bored, and two, I just didn't want to spend out like 40 or 50 quid for games that are quite mediocre. So I'm just taking a back seat at the minute. I'm still going to go after a whole set eventually, but I'm just going to give myself a little bit of breathing room first. I don't want to be spending out money hand over fist for a collection I'm not really going to sort of like massively appreciate, if that makes any sense to you at all. So we've done some videos beforehand of like gaming pickups of retro play of games on the road and various different formats and retro games. I'm going to go a bit more contemporary this time around because I kind of feel with all the news of Microsoft with the Xbox recently that there's a bit of unrest in sort of the community of Xbox gamers. And that works well for me because we've come at a time where Microsoft are like sort of are they sort of in the competitive space anymore. But that also is creating somewhat of a bookmark on their physical releases for the consoles. So like where the Xbox One's coming to the end and Xbox Series releases seem to be quite selective now. Like you get games for PS5 and you're getting Switch versions of games. You don't seem to be getting the physical Xbox versions, I've seemed to notice. So a bit like how Sega was back in 2001 with the Dreamcast, I kind of feel that Xbox are going to be like this sort of way soon enough. And there might be a collector's market for Xbox games. We'll just have to see. But what I've done is I've bought a selection of games from CEX, which I feel represent good value at this moment in time because Xbox games are, hilariously cheap. So let's start going through the stack and see what we've got. I spent about 65 odd quid on all of these. So let's go through. We've got the first one that's Under the Waves. This is by Parallel Studio and Spotlight, but more importantly, this is published by Quantic Dream, and I am a massive, massive fan of Quantic Dream. I love Heavy Rain, I love Fahrenheit, Beyond Two Souls, Nomad Soul. I love their work, and for them to publish this game obviously means that it must follow in the same sort of vein of the games that we're used to playing by them anyway. And yes, it is a story-driven narrative game. I didn't actually know that there was an Xbox One / Series X version of this game. I saw it in sort of the game stores group in Sports Direct on the PS5, and I thought, I might buy it on that purely to play it. But I was over the moon to realise that there was actually an Xbox One version of it, which I still am rocking an Xbox One rather than a Series X. So this was £6, just recently reduced from £10. So I seized the day and grabbed a copy of this. It is supposed to come with an art book and some stickers, which are sadly missing from this particular copy that I got, and I had to replace the box as well because it came all damaged. But for £6, whatever, it came out in 2023. It's not even that old, so it's a bargain, isn't it? The next one up is Watch Dogs Legions. Now, this was a launch game for the PS5 and the Xbox Series, and perhaps we should have really seen this as the writing was on the wall back then, with how convoluted this console generation is, with keeping the older legacy consoles around. We've got sort of Xbox One, Xbox Series X written at the top here, how they used to do it at this point in time, which is a key point there. Notice how they changed the artwork. The boxes are slightly larger on the later releases, and then they've got like just a sort of half quadrant on their case there to say that it's Xbox One, Series X. Back in the day, it was less obvious and it was written at the top here. Sometimes you get just Xbox One or just Xbox Series X if there wasn't both versions on disc. Why there wouldn't be, who knows. Anyway, so Watch Dogs Legions, always quite fancy playing this one. It's £3. And you've got your booklet, your disc there. It looks to be in good overall condition. I did a click and collect on all of these games, so I was taking a bit of a risk with buying them. It's always a bit of an awkward one when you've got to say to the staff member, I don't want that anymore because the box is in bad condition or it's not complete or whatever. But thankfully this didn't happen this time around. Right, the next one up is Scully. Now, I was looking at a Switch version of this game, and I missed the boat on that one because I think it's gone digital code now. But the physical Xbox version was £5, and I don't think I'm going to lose on this at all. It came out in 2020. It looks to be a relatively decent game. I haven't really heard much about it, but yeah, you know, if the artwork's anything to go by, it looks kind of cool, doesn't it, once I take the CEX stickers off it. Next one up is Sudden Strike 4 European Battlefields Edition. I don't know whether there's two versions of this game. I think this is actually a different version of the game, and they've just put it as Sudden Strike 4. But yeah, I think there is Sudden Strike 4, and then there is this version of the game, which has actually got like add-on bits and pieces in it, exclusive maps and stuff like that. But it's one of those that I kind of like RTS games, and I'm hoping that this might be a good one. It looks like it might be made by the people that make Tropico, so it's probably running on the same game engine as that. And this came out in 2018. Got what looks, oh yeah, we've got a manual on there, look. Oh god, we've got a game sticker on there. And now, I've got a bit of a bad reputation with these. Whenever I try and pull these off, they end up pulling the artwork off the discs as well. Absolutely stupid idea why a game did that, and it's no wonder why they've stopped selling pre-owned games. Next one up is No Man's Sky. Now this originally I think was just on the PS4, and it was kind of like a test bed on the PS4 for, you know, like they were like almost the beta testers, where the game started off quite basic and then built up and up and up and up and up as it started to realise the scope of what the developers wanted. But the Switch version and the Xbox version, I think, are a more complete experience from the get-go. I could be wrong. If you played this game before, then feel free to correct me. But I've heard good things about it. I've heard that at this point in time, it's actually a really great game. And I do quite fancy playing it and giving it a go. Again, I do want to pick up a Switch copy of it at some point as well, because I think the port's actually quite competent. But this is one of these that's Xbox One X enhanced, and it's important to take that into note because I have an Xbox One X, I don't have a Series X, and I don't have a standard one. So hopefully the performance will be pretty good on the One X. There we go, disc. Oh, for goodness sakes, again. I'm starting to see a trend here, and I'm thinking that perhaps CEX have actually ended up with all games pre-owned stock. I think I might see a trend of this going forward. Anyway, it needs to get moving because we've still got a load of games to go through, and we're on 7 minutes already. Next one is Rius. This one is got lovely artwork, and it was a £5, and I thought, well, why not? It's one of these that went cheap anyway, new. I think you can get this on 365 Games for probably a £10 or 12 quid or whatever. But for £5 locally, it was worth going for. And it might be a good game. Might be worth giving it a try at some point. I might play it. Probably no sticker on the disc, which is good. We'll move into the era of sort of digital manuals of these games as well. So it's quite difficult to work out what games actually did come with booklets and which ones were just digital manuals. It's quite annoying, really, but it is what it is. The next one up is Rime. I think I've got a copy of this on the Switch. But yeah, quite fancy giving it a try and perhaps getting some achievements out of it. It looks to be quite a good little game, this one, and probably wouldn't play it on the Switch, but would entertain playing it on the Xbox. So I think it's quite a short game and easy to get some gamer score out of. That was £5. Yeah, the case is actually in really nice condition of this one, and it's got the remains of the Microsoft seal, but I can feel that hasn't long been unsealed. Nice and smooth case. Next one up is Rustler. Now this one is kind of a weird one because it's kind of like a top-down, almost early GTA clone, but set in what looks like medieval times, but kind of looks a bit like the main character from Bully. So someone's taken their inspiration from a couple of Rockstar games of this one. £2. What a bargain. What, £2? What an absolute bargain. Disc looks, it's in good condition. All the discs are pretty good condition. I mean, it's worth noting here that they are Blu-ray discs or technology that's based on that. So they have like a scratch-proof layer on them, which really helps these discs no end. But worth holding them up to the light if you do buy them, just to make sure that the printed artwork layer hasn't got any holes in it, because that could cause you problems later on. Next one was £4, and that was Saints Row 4, which is Re-Elected and Gat Out of Hell. So it's a slight remastering of the previous generation games put into one collection here. Worth noting that Gat Out of Hell on 360 is worth a huge amount of money, so if you've got that slashed away, just look how much CEX is selling that for at the minute. Yeah, I've had this before, and I have played this. This was quite an early game I had for my Xbox One, when I had one sort of like a day one back in the day. And I thought it was quite a fun game. You know, it's actually quite a bit more fun than the GTA 5 port on the Xbox One. It's controversial, isn't it? But that's just how I felt. I'm fairly sure this one might have come with a booklet originally. It's sort of that time period, but it isn't there now. But £4, we're not going to argue with that, are we? Next one up is Flockers. This is by Team 17. And this one here was quite an early game as well, 2014. So within the first year of the Xbox One being on the market. £4. Am I going to lose on that? I just don't think I am I? It's again got the Microsoft seal on it, and the case feels in pretty good condition. And they're sort of marketing it on the back, new from the creators of Worms. So just trying to cash that in a little bit. No booklet. But again, debatable whether it even had one in the first place. I would have thought it probably would have, but not really that fussed about that. Next one's quite an obvious one, but I don't think I actually have it, which is Gears of War 4. There's quite a few of the exclusive games on the Xbox One that I'm missing, and yeah, I don't know why I just didn't pick them up at the time, but here we are, and I've got it now. It's £2, and I think this definitely came with a booklet, doesn't there? But that's absolutely fine. We don't need to worry too much about that, because I don't think I'm ever going to play it anyway, and even if I was going to play it, I don't think I'd need instructions on how to play it. Next one, we're moving a little bit up in sort of our time scale, and it's Immortals Phoenix Rising. Now, this is best described as like a sort of fantasy, Greek mythology Assassin's Creed. This is like Ubisoft's like little venture into, can we make something that's a little bit like Assassin's Creed that's not Assassin's Creed? And it didn't work. It didn't pay off for them, and they've never made another one of these, and this game started to go cheap really quickly. But £3 for a second-hand copy is ludicrously cheap, and I'm sure there's probably more than £3 worth of entertainment out of this. It was released in 2020, so again, quite close to the next generation consoles releases, and that's why it's dual release with Series X and Xbox One. We've got a leaflet for a season pass here, which we'll be sure not to purchase, and disc there. Next one up is another, I think, 2020 release, and it is the controversial Balan Wonderworld. This was by the co-creator of Sonic the Hedgehog, Yuji Naka, who, if you look him up recently, he's just recently been done for insider training at Square Enix, who published this game. And yeah, it's kind of like, if you've played Nights and Streams before, and some of the other sort of Sega platformy games, Billy Hatcher, maybe around about that sort of time, you know what to expect for this. It's very dated fare, and plenty of people hated this game when it came out. I've got it on the Switch already, so I'm going to give this a try just to get some achievements out of it. Never played it, so I will play it on the Xbox. Again, we've got a 2021 release, so we've got our sort of header here, Xbox Series X and Xbox One, dual compatibility release. Unlike the PlayStation, where it has to have a PS4 version and a PS5 physical release. Why is that? Why is that a thing? I actually find that really annoying. I don't know why they did that, why they just didn't do a PS4 version with what they were doing initially, where PS5 upgrade available in the bottom part of the cases they were writing. Why can't you just do that? What's the point of having a PS5 native physical release of things like Bratz and other kids' games? Yeah, that's usually a PS5, isn't it? Moronic. I do have a PS5, by the way. I'm not an Xbox fanboy by any stretch of imagination. I actually have a PS5. Just to throw that out there for the 3 people that watch this, the comments go wild. Inside, we've got our little leaflet, which is telling us some precautions and beware of Yuji Naka being potentially a bad man, and the disc here. Yeah, look forward to playing that. The next one up is it's £4, Beast Quest. This here is made by Maximum Games, and they made Troll and I, which anyone that knows me personally, I actually spent a good amount of time playing Troll and I on the Switch. And Troll and I is well known for being one of the first Switch games that was truly awful. It's well documented of how people absolutely hated Troll and I. The performance was bad, the game was bad itself. And yeah, this is these guys again. And looking at the back of the box, this does look like it's just using the assets from Troll and I. It came out in 2017, so it's quite an old game. 2017 is probably actually a Switch version of this game somewhere out there. But yeah, £4. I mean, you can't miss that, can you? Case is a little bit ragged, so I might have to change it out for another one at some point if this starts to gain any value, which I don't think it will. But you know, £4's £4, isn't it? It's you get what McDonald's for that money these days. Get McDonald's and get fat rather than £4 and you get a game out of it. And the last one on the list here is a gargantuan episode, so I commend you if you stuck me this far. Never seen this game before, and it's also by Maximum Games, and it is Curved Space. Now this must be a lot later because, again, we've got our Series X and Xbox One compatibility with that. We've also the little Series X sticker that you split in the corner, just in case you didn't spot it here. Huge identity crisis this generation with these cross releases on the flip side of things. So where I moaned a little bit ago about PS5 and PS4 native versions, in actual fact there's probably an identity crisis by the fact that these were Xbox One and Xbox Series X compatible in one box. So it's horses for courses, not a fanboy. Yeah, £4 this was. This is quite a bit later, so 2021. Never seen this game before, but it says battle cosmic space invading spiders across curved landscapes in this intense arcade-style twin-stick shooter. Sounds fun. I should imagine this was probably a really low print run, and might be a bit of a sod to find in years to come. And that's just exactly the sort of games that I'm looking for. The cheap ones at the minute that are a bit unusual, but also I might play them. I don't want to really fall in the trap of just buying games and they purely sit on my shelf. That's how I end up with like 350 Xbox 360 games. Am I going to play them all? No. Do I have enough life left in the world to play them? No. So, just compulsive nature, innit? But yeah, all in there, digital manual, because it's that era. £4, bargain. So yeah, for a total spend of about £65, we've accumulated a good amount of Xbox One games there. And if you think about like one new Xbox physical release these days is 30 to 40 quid, haven't done too bad out of what, 10, 12 games there. So yeah, I mean, this is just sort of a one-off episode. I won't assume that I'm going to keep making episodes on physical games that I'm picking up because I don't want to keep spending out money buying games willy-nilly. But once I get a good selection of games again, I'll do another video. And if you like this video, leave me a comment on what you're collecting for. Are you collecting for PS5, PS4, Xbox, Switch? You know, what contemporary systems do you think are going to be the collector's hotbed in years to come? So yeah, I hope to hear from you and catch you next time, maybe. Bye-bye.